So if you're into personal finance and into investing and into real estate, you probably know who Dave Ramsey is, and you probably know who Robert Kiyosaki is. All right, Dave Ramsey of The Total Money Makeover. That's his most famous book, and Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay. Now, many people think that these two philosophies on money are mutually exclusive, and they're completely opposite. I disagree, and here's why.
Okay, no, seriously. Dave Ramsey's philosophy versus Robert Kiyosaki's philosophy. Incompetent money versus smart money. I'm not saying that people that follow or listen to Dave Ramsey's advice are inherently stupid or incompetent. I'm saying that they are stupid or incompetent when it comes to money, and they need simple, clear-cut, no-nonsense advice on what they need to do with their paychecks. Dave Ramsey's philosophy of frugality, living within your means, creating an emergency fund, paying off all debt, including your mortgage, investing for the long run in IRAs and 401ks, funding your children's education, and then creating wealth through extreme saving is not bad advice. It's just very simple and should be common sense. Robert Kiyosaki's philosophy of buying assets that put money in your pocket through monthly cash flow and avoiding liabilities that take money out of your pocket, like your home, your car, taxes, and other consumer debt, is also not bad advice, but takes more financial education, risk, and real-world experience to actually be able to achieve. These two philosophies should not be looked at as if they are in complete opposition to each other. Let me explain. First, let's look at Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. On the left side, we have employees and self-employed people. If you fall on this side like most people do, then following Dave Ramsey's advice will work for you. But honestly, no matter if you're a millionaire or hundredaire, coined, you should follow this advice when it comes to managing the money that is in your personal bank account. Kiyosaki's philosophy is geared towards the right side of his quadrant, which consists of business owners and professional investors. Both of these involve much greater risk, possibility of much greater reward, and the path to being truly wealthy through a business that makes you money, no matter how much time you spend working, or assets like real estate that don't require your time and energy to put money in your pocket every month, aka passive income. Now, in parentheses, I'm not going to go in depth into each individual's philosophy. I recommend reading The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey and Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Read these first and then continue reading more books from Dave and Robert to completely understand their individual philosophies. End of parentheses. All right, so Dave Ramsey, what I agree with. Emergency fund of 3 to 6 months, depending on your situation. Having no consumer debt. Paying off your own home mortgage as quickly as possible. I'll say that one again. Paying off your own home mortgage as quickly as possible. Investing at least 15% of your gross pay in a Roth IRA for retirement. Saving, investing, and living within your means. Okay, so Dave Ramsey, what I disagree with, and I'm going to explain each of these points. So first point, prioritizing saving for kids' college. I disagree. I don't agree with the belief you have to save tens of thousands of dollars for your kids' college education. Yes, I agree with helping them finance whatever advanced education they want to pursue, but I do not agree with believing you have to finance 100% of a traditional four-year degree. Right now, I'm very much anti-four-year degree for a kid right out of high school, unless they know exactly what career they want to pursue, and a bachelor's degree is required for that. College is very expensive and stupid for children to figure out who they are and what they want to pursue in life. Unless for the above reason, they should join the military, work, do an apprenticeship, or start a business right out of high school instead of going to college. My advice for young adults starting out in the world is to seek out real-life experience and figure out what you really enjoy doing or learning about. And perhaps along the way, have college financed for you, for example, the GI Bill, before going to college. Right now, I plan to save at least $1,000 a year for my son, which will go into a CD that earns 3% or higher APY, or perhaps put that money in an S&P 500 ETF. By the time he's ready to go out on his own, he should have at least $20,000 waiting for him. That may sound cruel and like it's not enough money, but neither my wife's parents nor mine paid 100% for any of their kids' college. They paid nothing for mine since I had the GI Bill. My two siblings have zero student loan debt and both have their master's degree. My wife completed her bachelor's with about $8,000 in debt, which we paid off in about 2 to 3 years. It was actually 3 years. She now has her master's and we have zero debt between the both of us. People who get tens of thousands of hundreds of dollars into student debt do so because they are stupid. College is not a right, and college should not be the first choice for many young adults. Okay. Second philosophy by Dave Ramsey that I disagree with: having no debt. Again, this is good advice for the E's and S's, or left side of the cash flow quadrant. I hate personal debt, which is why we don't have any. And will do my best to kill our mortgage once we buy our house and own a mortgage, because you don't own the house, you own a mortgage. However, debt that makes you money via leverage or good debt is not a bad thing. I currently do not have any real estate investments or other assets bought with debt that bring in cash flow passively every month, but it is one of my personal financial goals and milestones to begin investing in rental property. I will use good debt to do this. I think here the key is differentiating between what you personally own and what your LLC or whatever structure you set up for your investment properties or business owns. Robert Kiyosaki, as far as I'm tracking, has never said don't buy a personal residence or don't own your own home. Kiyosaki just makes the argument that your home is in fact a liability as it takes money out of your pocket every month. This is 100% true no matter if you pay the mortgage off or not. In my mind, I'm going to follow Ramsey's advice when it comes to my personal property and residence and pay the mortgage off, if I have one, as quickly as possible, so that the liability is less of a liability and I can save more / invest in more assets with that savings. I guarantee Robert Kiyosaki owns at least one personal residence. People seem to think that Kiyosaki is anti-home ownership. He's not. He's just saying that it is not an asset. I don't know about you, but I want to straight up own my own home and land, and eventually with no mortgage. In fact, I want to turn that land into somewhat of an asset either by raising animals, growing food, or creating energy through solar power, or all of the above. The only debt I want to have is on rental or investment property where the rent pays the mortgage on the property plus a little extra in its pocket. That's good debt. Plus, those rental properties will be inside of a legal entity separate from my personal property, limiting liability and maximizing tax incentives. Sorry, Dave, but not many people can pay cash for investment properties. All right, final thing that I disagree with the Dave Ramsey philosophy: investing in an employer-provided 401k. This kind of hits my paranoid side, but unless you have complete control over where your 401k money goes, be very wary on maxing this out, as actively managed funds and their fees will kill your investment returns. Sometimes this money is better suited in your pocket to use elsewhere. Now, I do agree wholeheartedly to max out at least one Roth IRA every year in a low-cost mutual fund or ETF. Vanguard. Everything else Dave preaches, I 100% agree with, and was essentially how I was raised / trained my whole life growing up. All right, moving on. Robert Kiyosaki, what I agree with. His definition of an asset and a liability. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out of your pocket. His philosophy on becoming financially free and truly wealthy. That there is little to zero financial education in this country and in our schools. That cash is risky and loses value every year due to inflation. Also, cash is not backed by anything but hope, essentially. That savers are losers, for the most part. Owning real gold and silver. That investing in the stock market is a fool's errand. The mindset of how can I afford it rather than I can't afford it. Okay, so Robert Kiyosaki, what I disagree with. I'm going to explain each of these points. The first one is that anyone can do what he does. Yes, I agree that anyone who truly studies money, real estate, and finance, or who has created a self-sustaining business can and probably already does what Robert teaches. Unfortunately, not everyone is interested, and some people, God forbid, are content with their lives and their jobs. Not everyone has the nerve or is risky enough to borrow money for investment properties or start a business. Like Robert says, it takes a lot of education and real-life experience to be successful at this, and I'm sorry, but not everyone can and or is mentally able to take these risks. That's just reality. Second Robert Kiyosaki philosophy that I disagree with. That people with no savings and no money can make money investing in real estate. If someone can't save enough for a 10% down payment on one piece of property, i.e. their personal residence, they are not going to be able to handle buying and managing investment properties. Sorry. This goes along the lines if you are already a master of Dave's philosophy of money, then you should venture out into Robert's ways of making money and becoming truly rich. If you haven't mastered Dave's philosophy with money and are a financial idiot, the bank's probably not going to lend you 90% to finance an investment property. This is where these two philosophies go hand in hand. If you can master your own income and money, you should be able to manage leverage to make even more money. More precisely, if you can't learn to live within your means, you're not going to survive when you lose all your investment properties and have to downsize your home and live like a very poor person. Don't know if that makes sense, just my opinion. Dave Ramsey lost it all in real estate, and he completely reinvented himself and his philosophy on money. Third point, that investing in the stock market is a fool's errand. Now, I agree with Robert on this one too, in that it is not the best way to increase wealth and make money. In fact, for most investors in the stock market, there is very little cash flow and sometimes very little capital gains as the years go by. I think investing in some mutual funds or other decent paper assets underneath the umbrella of a Roth IRA for tax purposes is a very good idea whether you're a millionaire with 500 rental properties or not. Why? Because if nothing else, your contributions can be pulled at any time without tax or early withdrawal penalties in case of emergency, or of perhaps a larger down payment on a property. Worst comes to worst, if you max a Roth IRA out every year from the age of 30 to 65, you'll probably have at least $1 million waiting for you in case all else goes south. Otherwise, just investing in stocks for the possibility of capital gains for the long run is pretty dumb unless you know how and when, which most people don't, including myself for the most part. To summarize, if you, like me, are currently on the left side of the cash flow quadrant, Dave Ramsey's philosophy is for you. As long as I'm an employee, I'm going to continue living my minimalistic save, invest, save, invest, avoid consumer debt at all costs lifestyle. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't listen and learn from Robert Kiyosaki. If you want to become truly rich and wealthy in real assets that put money in your pocket that then allows you to eventually become truly financially free, follow Kiyosaki's philosophy. Robert is all about expanding your lifestyle through cash flow positive assets, not contracting your lifestyle by living below your means. Word of caution. Like I mentioned before, if you have not mastered Dave's philosophy when it comes to managing your cash flow and personal money, you probably won't be successful following Robert's way to build wealth. Of course, I could be wrong. Time will tell.
I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of it. I hope you learned something. I hope it encouraged you to go find out more about these two philosophies. Essentially, Dave Ramsey is kind of what I want to call common sense, or like to do with what the money you have now. Robert Kiyosaki and his Rich Dad company is all about expanding your means through investing in assets that generate cash flow every month. So instead of focusing on paying down consumer debt and paying off liabilities like your own home or your car, and then saving money and investing traditionally in the stock market like many people do, and that's Dave Ramsey, Robert Kiyosaki is more like, hey, that's okay if you do that, but if you want to truly be rich and truly be wealthy, invest in real assets that generate cash flow every month, like real estate and things of that nature. So this has been USMC Saxogi. Hope you enjoyed it. I will see you next time. Oh yeah, and live smarter, live simpler, live with more money. Saxogi your life. See you next time.